Hi there, my name is Stevie P. I'm going to do a guide on how to defeat Valkyrie, who you come across at the end of chapter 15. He's the final boss that you come across, and he's a really interesting boss with mechanics that aren't explained when you use Assess, which I'm going to do my best now to explain for you, and I'm going to show you the setup that we're using. So firstly, I have got lightning on Barret and Cloud. You can have lightning or wind, just because it is useful to have, because that's what he's vulnerable to. And then I've got elemental with wind on Tifa. Now, he is an aerial boss, which might make you think that Barret should be your man. However, once again, Tifa comes out as the star of the show because he is rapidly pressured when you use physical attacks as opposed to range attacks on him, which I think is fair to say. But the main thing with Tifa is that she can also dodge. Barret just cannot dodge in the same way that Tifa can. So on balance, I would say if you want a safe fight and a fun fight, use Tifa as your main gal, and she'll build up the pressure really quickly by doing long strings of attacks against him, especially at Chi level 3. Her string of attacks in the air is absolutely phenomenal. So that's just one thing to bear in mind. She's going to be a main gal. Now, I have also given her chakra, and I have given her a headband. The headband makes her immune to sleep, and chakra means that she can remove poison. And he throws these bombs out onto the field in two moves of his. One is called anti-personnel gas, the other is fire wheel, which throw these bombs onto the battlefield that are purple, that if you run into, you're inflicted with sleep and poison. So as your main character, Tifa does not want to suffer that fate, so she'll be immune to falling asleep and can use chakra if she does happen to be poisoned. I would say that is absolutely essential, especially headband, in this fight if you want to make it as easy a fight as possible. With the strategy that I'm going to show you, you shouldn't have to do a single heal, not once. However, what I am going to do is I'm just going to swap out, I'm actually going to swap out time with, time with Magnify, just in case we want to speed them up. And then I'm going to be using Lifesaver with Barret. And when you do that, really, you don't need to do Magnify and healing. You'll probably be fine just to have a normal healing spell available. So I think this setup is better with a couple of HP ups just to get his health as high as possible. Now, you shouldn't need to do a single heal, but I am going to have him as tanky as possible because there are two moves that he does that are particularly deadly, and you'll find out when we get there. But for now, let's just get on and start the fight. So I'm going to skip through this cutscene. And first thing you want to do is run to the left or the right. And then when he takes a break from shooting, move to the other side or somewhere else on the bridge. Now, there are crates on this bridge, so you can play around with the configuration as to where you're running to see how much loot you can get. That's up to you. But once you get to the top, you skip the cut. Well, I'm going to skip the cutscene and we get into the actual fight. Well, this is still kind of the beginning, non-official part of the fight. I'm going to use Thundara, and at this particular phase of the fight, my guide to you, my advice to you is take it easy. Take a breather. What we're going to do is just build up ATB. And there is a reason for that. I'm going to use Overcharge with Barret just to build up that ATB. And then Tifa's just going to have some fun. She's going to break these boxes, and we're just going to let the ATB run up. Basically, that is the idea. And I'm going to basically put one of these obstacles in the way between Tifa and Valkyrie. Now, he's just done two attacks. These are his common attacks. To start with, he's not going to target Tifa. So he's used the artillery move that you can see there, which basically shoots out bazookas. And that one does a bit of damage, and it does also kind of put you out of action briefly. So you want to dodge that if you possibly can. But the other move is called Rotary Cannon, which is basically just a machine gun that doesn't do a lot of damage. Those are his two kind of bread and butter moves. And then after this, he might turn to face Tifa, which he's doing. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of stand her here, and she's dodging most of the attacks, and he's doing the artillery, and she's still absolutely fine. And we're not using the ATB, we're just letting it run up. Now he does a move called Napalm Drop, and at this point, I would just recommend that you enjoy the finer things in life. Have a good look around the battlefield, take it easy, think about something nice like your girlfriend or your boyfriend. And if you do get hit by one of these, don't worry, it does hardly any damage. And now we have this cutscene and we're moving into the main part of the battle with a good fat lot of ATB, which is exactly what we want. And with Tifa on Chi level 3, we get to enjoy watching Cloud being the hero as usual. And now we're into the main section of the fight where I shall tell you what the strategy will be. First of all, I'm going to use one of the ATB on Barret to give him Lifesaver, and that's important because there are a couple of moves that he does that can one-shot Tifa if you're not careful. So we're going to use Lifesaver now to prevent that from happening. And really the strategy right now is with Tifa is to immediately run up to him and start attacking him. Now the reason for that is because if you put distance between you and him, well, particularly at the end, he will do this move called Fire Wheel. If you are up close and attacking, I don't believe he gets the opportunity to do Fire Wheel. He might, and if in this run through of the game, I'm going to deliberately let him do Fire Wheel just so that I can show you how to deal with it. It's pretty much his worst attack, his most dangerous attack. But what you want to be doing is running up to him and attacking with Tifa, and you'll see how rapidly the stagger gauge fills as we do that. If he does rotary cannons, or particularly his anti-fiend artillery, make sure that you're dodging. So you really only want to attack when there is a gap. Okay, so let's do Lifesaver and run up to him and start attacking. He's doing rotary cannon, so I'm just going to dodge, and I'm going to point out to you that this is why Tifa is so much better than Barret, because there is absolutely no way under the sun that Barret would be able, even with parry, to dodge in this way. Now there's a little gap. Going to jump up, start attacking him. He starts doing rotary attacks again, and now he's actually on the battlefield, which is great. So sometimes he jumps outside the battlefield. He does drill dive. Don't worry, that will hit you. It doesn't do an awful lot of damage, but what you do want to do is get up close to him as quickly as possible. Parry enables her to move quicker than if she's actually running across the battlefield, by the way. So use parry instead of running. Now dive kick, and we should pressurize him. And that's the nice thing about him doing dive drill, or drill dive, is of course that does hit you, and that's not nice, but then you get to pressure him, which is pretty perfect. And now all we need is a couple of punches, and maybe, well, any minute now really we're going to have him pressured, or sorry, staggered. Jump out of the way, a couple more attacks, bang, and he is staggered. So we're doing really well. Now with Barret, I'm going to use Maximum Fury, and I'm going to tell you the order of events, which is very important. So with Tifa, what you want to be doing right now is both of her Chi abilities before telling Cloud to use Infinity's End, and the reason is because her Chi abilities increase stagger. So you see there it's at 160%. Let's get that up well over 200%. And Infinity's End, which usually does somewhere around 4,000 damage, will instead do over 6,000 damage. So Maximum Fury. Now rise and fall, bang, 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 Omni Strike, bang. Now there's more than half of the stagger left, which means that there's time. So if there's more than half of the stagger left, Cloud has got time to do Infinity's End. So we're going to instruct Infinity's End, immediately use Unbridled Strength and Omni Strike. And now look at that stagger, 230%. And there we go. That was 5,940 damage that he did with Infinity's End. It is usually higher than that, but still, 230% stagger, that's really good. Now we're just going to use uppercut attacks to build up some ATB. And he's damaged enough that he's going to move into the third and most dangerous phase of the fight. So this is the phase in which there are two attacks that happen that can one-shot Tifa, so you do have to watch out. First thing I'm going to do not forget about Overcharge with Barret, just to build up some ATB. Jump back to Tifa. Now, a couple of mechanics to explain here that are not explained when you use Assess. So that beam that has appeared that's being projected down from the drone above will explode when it hovers over you at certain points in the battle. Now, what governs it exploding, I have yet to fully figure out, but what I know for sure is that as you physically attack the thing, a point comes when it is slowed down. So you'll see it kind of jolt, or it will go pressured. Now, when that happens, the beam will explode. And when the beam explodes, it does over 2,000 damage. So watch out, you don't want that hitting you. However, look at this. he's going to do something called limiter override. Sorry about the camera angles there. Limiter override puts a shield around him that makes him dramatically resistant to physical and magical attacks. And the only thing that will get rid of that shield is if the beam of light explodes. So you've got a bit of a dilemma because you want to avoid that exploding over you, but it'll follow whichever character you're controlling and explode over you once you jolt him or slow him down, or once you put him into a pressurized state. So what you've got to look out for is the minute that you can see him jolting or getting pressurized, because when that happens, you can rest assured the beam will explode, and if you time it right, you'll be able to get out of the way before it explodes, and it'll explode over him. And that's the challenge. It is a very tricky challenge, and I'm going to do my best to show you it working. So we're going to run in, and I'm going to start doing some attacks. He's going to do rotary cannon. And he's going to do anti-fiend artillery, just keep dodging out of the way, and when there are gaps, jump up to attack him. He's unfortunately a little bit off the field, so he is difficult to hit. Anti-fiend artillery, when he does the third one of those, try and jump up to attack him. And because of the way that he moves often, the screen goes crazy. Don't worry about the beam, you don't need to worry about that, but now that he's just jolted, you need to get out of the way because the beam explodes. And there you go, I've managed to show you exactly how that works. So the beam exploded over him and it has got rid of the shield. And that is brilliant because of how pressurized he is. So now we're just going to lay in with the attacks. What I'm actually going to do is jump over to Cloud because I want him to have a little bit more ATB. And now I'm going to jump back to Tifa. I'm going to make sure that he's staggered. At this point, we're going to use Maximum Fury. And we're going to follow the same pattern that we did before. So with Tifa, I'm actually going to get her up to Chi level 3, and then Rise and Fall, and then Omni Strike. And then with Cloud, now is the time, Infinity's End. Unbridled Strength. He's at 230% stagger. I'm going to do Uppercut and Dive Kick. There you go, over 6,000 damage. Wonderful, beautiful. Poetry in motion. Dive kick, and then just uppercut. Now at this point I'm just going to say we could keep on hammering away at him until he has only a sliver of health, and that would mean that he just barely gets a chance to breathe, and you kill him and that's the end of the fight. Now if something's gone wrong or you're just unlucky, an event might take place where he does his most powerful attack called Firewheel. I have deliberately not continued hounding him because I want to show you what to do if he gets the chance to do Firewheel. But if you at this point didn't run away like I've just done with Tifa, but carried on relentlessly attacking him, then you can rest assured that in the overwhelming majority of walkthroughs of this fight, he will not get the chance to do his most powerful attack, Firewheel. He got hit again, and that was actually by mistake. That's fine, let's just leave him alone. Let's give him a chance to do Firewheel. There we go, Firewheel. So, what to do when he does Firewheel? Basically, if he hits you enough times while he's doing Firewheel, he'll follow it up with a move called Bombardment. Now, there are occasions where you, because of the AI, you just cannot avoid this happening. He's going to hit them a whole bunch of times. They're going to get really damaged. He follows it up with Bombardment, and if Barrett's got Lifesaver, you should be okay, but you almost certainly will need to do a heal. But this is what you do. Run around this thing. Control where he is and on the battlefield by just running around this thing, yeah? That'll keep you safe. You see what I mean? Pretty simple. Okay. So that is how you deal with that. Now, will the beam go off? No, I'll just carry on with exactly the same. He does the third. Anti-artillery always does 3 attacks. Okay, let her drop down. Avoid the artillery. He's done the third one, jump back up, if she jumps back up. Dodge, dodge. Does the third one, jump up, if she will jump up. Pretty difficult to actually know like where you need to be. Okay, now the beam will go off if it's in our vicinity. There we go, and it did. And he's dead. So you see, whenever he's pressured, the beam will go off if it hits you, right? And that's how you know when you need to start to actually dodge out of the way And this move, of course, this battle would have been over quicker if I had just relentlessly carried on attacking him. Most of the time, he doesn't even get the chance to do Fire Wheel. One of the moves that you didn't see him get an opportunity to do was anti-personnel gas. Basically, with that, like I explained, I think at the beginning, he just throws out these gas bombs that if you run into them, you are poisoned and will fall asleep. So that's why I've got Headband on Tifa and Chakra so that she can get rid of the poison and be immune to sleep. And pretty much anti-personnel gas, it's the move that you most want him to do. Because while he's up there doing anti-personnel gas, it's not affecting Tifa, and it takes a long time for him to do the move, and you can pretty much just stagger him while he's up there doing it. So it's not a very threatening move, so you've not really missed anything not seeing that move. But I hope you found this guide helpful. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you've got any feedback, and have a great life. Bye for now.